Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful day. Welcome to the Fasce Cast, your weekly podcast of everything football, fantasy, predictions, bets, news, you name it, we got it. We're going to be every single Thursday morning, 8 a.m. on the YouTube at the Fasce Cast. Joined here today by the Fast Brothers. Let's get right into it, guys.
Well, it's good to have you all on board. And first and foremost, I want to wish a very happy birthday to our beepity boop boop boop. It is his birthday today as we are recording. So happy birthday, Nicholas.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome. We are going to start off how we do normally with pick'ems. This week is a little different. I don't know if you guys know why or not, if you've been tuned in. It is now NFL playoff football. Can I get a hoya?
I mean, you could.
But I'm not gonna. Okay, well, there's one.
Oh, you got one.
All right. So, first game, the NFL playoff season is at 4:30, January 11th. 1-1-1. Scripted? I think so. Anyway, I digress. You got the LA Chargers versus the Houston Texans, and this one's interesting. So, we have a -2.5 spread for the LA Chargers against Houston. Now, my thing is, the way CJ Stroud played this year, I see the Texans being that team that is one and done. I know that Brother Justin is very surprised he had the Texans being like that dominant team this year. They just didn't bring it to the table. Could be the sophomore slump thing. It could just be, they got hit. Obviously, Diggs was a big pickup for them, so they thought. And he's out for the year. And now, Tank Dell. He's kind of cooked too. So you're going into this playoff game pretty banged up, not playing so well. It is in Houston, though. It might be the only saving grace, but we will see. In my opinion, the Chargers are a very, very good football team this year. I think that they are... I think the spread is actually a little light, to be honest with you. I think the Chargers definitely hit the spread. I think they win the first playoff game of the 2024-25 NFL season. And I think they cover the spread, -2.5 for the LA Chargers. Okay, next.
Oh, yeah, it's me. I go now. Anyways. Yep, it would be brother. Brother being me. Yeah, so LA Chargers, Houston Texans. I think this is going to be a fairly good game. Obviously, CJ Stroud hasn't had the season that he's wanted to offensively. But the Houston defense is still a good talking point. They're up there in defensive EPA. They're still very solid on the defensive end. However, the past, at least later half of the season, their offense has been very, very lackluster. And they just keep losing key pieces. Tank Dell obviously going out was massive. Stephon Diggs way early on in the season was massive. And you really got Nico Collins and Joe Mixon trying to lead it against LA Chargers, whose defense is probably even better. And Justin Herbert has been absolutely cooking all year. Ladd McConkey has turned out to be a fantastic rookie. And and their run game has only gotten better. So I think this is pretty clear for me. I think the Chargers win this game. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, but I think the Chargers take it by at least a field goal. So I'm going to go with the -2.5 spread for those Chargers here.
Guys, here we go. By the way, the records are final. We're going to just keep them through the regular season. I won, of course. Who else would have thought differently? But, yeah, we got the first matchup on Saturday. I'll probably forget that there's a football game on Saturday and miss this game. Just kidding. It's a playoffs. Here we go, though. This is a whole different beast.
Here we go.
You got to look at everything here in the playoffs because the players know everything's on the line. This is the last game of the season. Every time they step on the field, that's in their mindset. So usually a lot of games boil down to who's the more physical team and who puts in the most effort, who wants it more. the line game is what I'm looking at. Who has a better line, O line, D line? Because that is, especially in the trenches in the playoffs, when everything's on the line, those are going to be your players that are going to shift the whole entire game. Who's a more physical team? Who's more coached here? Who am I looking at? I look at the past 5 games to both of these teams because a lot of momentum carrying into the playoffs. There's a lot to play of it too coming in. They're both 3-2 in their last 5. And of those, I would say the Chargers played their 3. They played 3 playoff teams and 2 not so playoff teams in their last 5. The Texans played 2 playoff teams and lost to both of them. So they're looking at a kind of like a, I would say, colder streak coming into this game, and I'm gonna agree with the Chargers pick. I think they're gonna win on the line. I think they have a better, even on both sides. I think they're gonna win that battle, and which will in turn make this a field goal win, -2.5. I think the Chargers go into Houston and advance in the NFL playoffs.
So there it is. We got a clean sweep for the first game of the playoffs. That happens somewhat often, not extremely often. But being the first game of playoffs, we're all in agreement. That's something to note, folks. On to the next game. I have a feeling we're going to have some mixed opinions here. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers going into Baltimore. Now, Pittsburgh. Nicholas, you might want to mute. Or not mute, but deafen yourself, because I'm going to kind of get down to the nitty-gritty here. Pittsburgh ended the season on a 4-game losing streak. Ouch. To be fair, you play the Eagles in Philly, the Ravens in Baltimore, the Chiefs. They're not good, but they're going to beat you just because they're the Chiefs. And then the Bengals, who, in my opinion, might have been one of the weirdest but best offensive teams in the league. Now, what's interesting to note is they only lost to the Bengals by 2 and only let up 19 points in that game. The Bengals, as we know, are very, very high-scoring offense. Even though they lost the game, they kept it under 20 points. The last time the Bengals had less than 20 points in a game was against the Eagles in Week 8. Other than that, they beat the Giants 17-7, so that's less than 20. Those are actually the Patriots Week 1, 2. So 3 weeks of the season, they scored under 20 points. And it just so happened that the Steelers kept them within under 20. Defense is solid, but it is also the Baltimore Ravens. Now, this spread is kind of crazy. 9.5 is a little nuts for a playoff game, nonetheless divisional. I'm taking Pittsburgh here at plus 9.5. I do think they lose this game. It's a tough year for Pittsburgh. It really wasn't up until a certain point. Obviously, 4 straight to end the season is really tough. But now you got the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore, divisional game, huge playoff atmosphere probably in Baltimore. I don't see the Steelers pulling this one out. They still got a little bit of work to do. They're not all there, but this is not their year for sure. So give me the plus 9.5. I think they keep it kind of close, but Baltimore will win this game.
Yeah, so this is a divisional matchup already, wild card. This is gonna be I think it's gonna be a pretty tight game, even though the Ravens are like that team right now. But here's how I think it's gonna go down. Right, Ravens are gonna walk all over them in the first half. It's gonna be like maybe 17-0 in the first half. Then in the first half, and then the second half, Steelers are gonna come back. They're gonna even take the lead. It's going to be 2017. They're going to shut out the Ravens in the second half, It's a 3-score, 4-score game, and the Ravens had the ball with a minute left, and then a deep ball to Rashad Bateman. He scores a touchdown, and the Steelers lose the game because typical Steelers, right? Am I right? Am I right, Nick? Nick, am I right? Anyways, don't answer that. Anyways, yeah, I think the Ravens are going to win this game, but I think it's going to be close. Divisional matchup. They usually play it pretty tight. I know the Ravens have a very good offense right now, but I think the Steelers defense is going to come out a little extra heavy here in the playoffs. So yeah, give me the Steelers plus 9.5 here.
Oh man, this is the big question mark for me. This game is going to be Lamar Jackson, and let me tell you why.
He sucks.
There's a lot of weird things about this game and divisional game. Not only have the Steelers won the past 4 out of 5 games against the Ravens, but you look at what the Steelers are going into the playoffs. Like I said, a lot of it has to do with the hot streaks, the momentum, who's playing good, who's not playing good. Having a 4-game loss going into the playoffs doesn't have a good look. And over those games, the past 5, Russell Wilson hasn't even averaged 200 yards. I think it's 174 yards passing average for the past 5 games, which is not good. The only thing the really Steelers have is their moonshot. They throw it deep down the field and pray that it gets caught, or they punt. That's pretty much their offense right now. If we see the regular season Ravens, it's going to be easy -10, no question about it. The problem is there's also a question mark on the other side, which I'm going to put on Lamar Jackson. Which playoff Lamar are we going to have? Whenever he hits the postseason, notoriously, it's like the big old curse. He's 2-4 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
His passer rating's a 75. And the interesting stat to this game going in is the Steelers have an average of 16 points in the last 5 games, hence their offense being horrible. Lamar Jackson has 16 points average in the postseason. So, which Lamar are we going to get? For me, in this game, for betting reason, it's exactly that was the crazy thing. I was like, holy crap, this. But for me, I feel like Lamar does show up. He's going to be a little more comfortable knowing the Steelers and playing them so often. I think it's not going to be as much of a, oh my God, this is a playoff until probably next round. I'm going to take the -9.5 for the game. I think they win by 10. But it's just, who are we going to say? It could go. It's a very interesting thing because the same thing, last 4 out of 5 games, 16 points. This could be one of those weird playoff games where I did not see that coming. But for betting reasons, I think Lamar shows up, and I'm going to take the spread for the Baltimore Ravens.
This one I like. This game I like a lot. The divisional game adds a lot to it. And I think there's an aspect to that where Baltimore really struggled in the beginning of the year to really solidify wins over their divisional opponents. The last 2 games they had, they kind of wiped the floor with their divisional opponents. But in the same token, the Browns were playing their 3rd-string quarterback. Baltimore's playing all their starters. They wanted that higher seed. But the last meeting was kind of a wipeout for Baltimore, so it's going to be interesting for sure. On to the real man's day. Sunday playoff football. And let me tell you, first game of Sunday, we have the Denver Broncos, who fought for the playoff spot against the 4th and 5th string Chiefs, and they got it. Shut the Chiefs out, nonetheless, against the best team in football, the Buffalo Bills. The line is 8.5. It's in Buffalo, and boy, is it going to be cold. Probably. I didn't look at the forecast, but I can certainly assume it's going to be cold.
It's going to be cold.
Snowballs will be flying. There's going to be people going through tables. It's going to be a great time. I think we all know what I'm about to say, and I think we all know what Caleb's about to say. But on a serious note, the atmosphere in Buffalo is extraordinarily different this year. I don't know what it is. I think it's Josh Allen MVP season. We got rid of Stephon Diggs, and our season is going better than really anybody expected it to go. Now we got Denver, who, don't get me wrong, Denver surprised the hell out of me this year. They really did. They are a good football team, but they are no Buffalo Bills. The spread is 8.5. And I know I'm not one to take big spreads, and it might be my adrenaline pumping as I'm talking about playoff football for Buffalo, but I am going to crush the 8.5 for Buffalo. I think it's the year where Josh Allen's ready to prove that he's not just a get to the playoffs, show up, go home kind of guy. I think this is the year that he's trying to take his team to the Super Bowl, and I think this is the year it might happen. So give me Buffalo minus 8.5.
Yeah. Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen MVP. This is our year. This is my team. We bleed blue or whatever the song is, except not for the Colts, but for the Bills. Anyways, yeah, this is almost kind of what we hope for as Bills fans. This matchup, not because Denver is a bad team by any means. Their defense is fantastic, but you know you got a rookie quarterback heading into the playoffs. Broncos, you know the offense still isn't great. You know they struggled the past few weeks, obviously, until they devastated the four stringers on the Kansas City Chiefs, which you know whatever. But yeah, I think this is easily the Bills' game to win. However, you know, it all just depends on the defense. I think what kind of defense we bring and show up, and I think with Sean McDermott and his play style of calling these kind of uh, masked defenses, it might confuse Bo Nix a little bit, or you know, rookie quarterback playoffs. I think the nerves are going to be there. I predict at least 3 interceptions, and I think the Bills win this by at least 40 points. Give me the Buffalo Bills minus 8.5.
I am gonna agree because there's not much to say about this game besides that the Denver Broncos are a borderline playoff team, meaning that they just squeaked in because they played against third stringers and the Chiefs in the last week to get in. If they played the Chiefs realistically, we'd be having a Bengals conversation, which would be even more scarier for you guys. But almost the same thing as last year, AFC, when the Steelers won their last game, made it in. They had to go against the Chiefs. They got absolutely smoked, and it's almost going to be the same scenario here. I don't think they're going to hold. What a fantastic year from the Broncos, though. Not going to sell them short of their season this year. Bo Nix, rookie quarterback, coming in, making the playoffs, almost like a CJ Stroud situation, but realistically, they're not going to win this game. And this is a perfect scenario for you guys. Not only is it almost like a semi-bye week, you're still playing football, which is good, playoff football. You get in the scenario. So that's a really solid start, and you got a tough road ahead. Possibly playing the Ravens, possibly playing the Chiefs to your road to the Super Bowl. So this is going to be your bye week, but there's a lot of work. And anything can happen in the following weeks for the Bills to go anywhere. But yeah, and there's no. I'm taking that the Bill spread easily this game.
A little beep to boop off of what Caleb said about a rookie quarterback. I curious and looked it up. A rookie quarterback has never won or even started in a Super Bowl.
Oh
For a
wow!
little reinforcement of Caleb's point there. Rookies never made it to the final game.
That's really cool. I like that fact because we have a situation where we have 2 rookie quarterbacks. We could have had 3 with Minnesota, but obviously JJ McCarthy, his knee turned inside out. So unfortunate, but that's where we are. So yeah, on to the next Sunday night game. Playoffs again. This is the common theme that we're going to have throughout the episode. It is playoffs all week, Saturday, Sunday. Buckle in. Green Bay Packers and Philadelphia Eagles. They both wear green. Little tidbit, we did not need a beep, boop, 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 boop. I already had that right off the top of the dome. It's in Philly. Oh, man. This one's actually this one's tough. I'm kind of surprised at the 4-5. Obviously, Philly has. I mean, Philly's just it's unreal, and it can be largely attributed to Saquon. Now, there is a little bit of conversation here with Jalen Hurts being on concussion protocol. In my opinion, he's gonna clear for playoffs. He's gonna be playing, but you still have Devonta Smith and AJ Brown that are questionable for Sunday as it stands right now on Tuesday, the 7th. Now, what that means for Philly's offense basically just means give Saquon the ball and let him backwards hurdle people. You'll be fine. Now, Jordan Love has not been spectacular by any means. Obviously, last year it was kind of like, oh my God, where did this kid come from? To me, the Eagles are, man, they're good. They surprised me. I had a lot to say about them earlier in the year. I didn't think they were like a powerhouse team, I was saying, but man, the addition with Saquon just, oh my God. I'm going to say go ahead and give me the -4.5. Philly's a very tough place to play all across sports, really. I think Philadelphia just, they eat their cheesesteaks with crack in them, and everyone's just off the freaking walls. It's now playoff football. It's do or die time. One game could send you home or move you on. So I think Philly takes this game -4.5. Lock it in. Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, this game, I don't think it's going to be even that close. I'm going to say that right now. Obviously, two good teams, Packers, Eagles, both got great records. But here's the thing. I think the Eagles' defense is just that good. I think they're not going to allow the Packers and Jordan Love to even do that much. Jordan Love got the huge contract, but I'm gonna say I don't think he really is even doing all that much this year. I don't know. I just don't trust the passing game of the Packers. Obviously they have their moments, but I don't know. I think this Philly Eagles, especially their pass defense, is very incredible. I would even go as far as to say, even if Jalen Hurts doesn't clear somehow miraculously, the doctors don't let him play, even though he's definitely giving him millions of dollars to clear him for this game. I still think they win, even with what's his name there, Pickett. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Eagles -4.5 and call it at that.
Yeah, I was almost going to say the same thing. I don't think any way that Jalen Hurts doesn't play the game. But this is almost same scenario, other side. Last year, the Packers were the 7th seed as well, and we all know what happened coming in the youngest team in the playoffs, I think ever. And I don't want to say who they beat, but the Eagles are not going to let that happen, and it's not going to happen. So yeah, I'll get them -4.5, regardless of the QB as well. And I just think they're a better football team. That's all it boils down to, and it's one of those situations. The 1 seed, well, the 2 seed, technically, but 2 versus the 7, and it's. I think there's been like 2 games in all of NFL history where the 7 seed won. Maybe we can get a little boop, but it's very unlikely. And the Eagles, arguably, are the hottest team coming into the playoffs. So that big thing for me is how you look going in from the regular season to playoffs. The heat of the team, the heat of the points, the everything. I think arguably they're the highest right now, and I don't see them dropping this game. Give me a -4.5.
I do want to ask this question before we move on to the next game. Do you think the specific divisions that these teams are in have anything to do with how powerful they look on the outside? Take this, for example. The Green Bay Packers, with a 11-6 record, they have lost to the Eagles week 1. Now, week 1 and week 2, it's kind of a hazy couple weeks there, right? Lost to the Eagles week 1. Division matchup against the Vikings, lost. Division matchup against the Lions, lost. Another division matchup against the Lions, lost. Another division matchup against the Vikings, lost. They have 4 out of their 6 divisional or 4 out of their 6 losses to divisional teams, and not only that, but 2 of the best teams in the entire league. Now, when you look at that, and you look at the Eagles' strength of schedule, the division they're in, no offense, Justin, it's a little bit easier. You can't really deny me on that one, right? Because obviously Chicago Bears are bottom of the barrel, but you also have the New York Giants bottom of the barrel. Dallas Cowboys obviously didn't have a great season, but you cannot say that 2 teams in that division in the NFC North did not have a good season. There's only one. And the Green Bay Packers have only lost to Detroit, Minnesota, and Philly. It's kind of crazy to me to think about. Obviously, I think this is going to be a really interesting game. It could be, like Caleb said. I don't know, man. It might not even be close. But I think we
Another
might have a
boop to
beep
boop.
boop boop. Yep, there it is.
We do indeed. This is another. I'm sorry, Justin. The only number 7 seed
Oh God.
to win a playoff game
Oh
since it
God.
has gone from 12 to 14 teams in 2020 was the Packers last year against the Cowboys. They won that game 48-32. It's the only time it's happened.
He did it to
Oh.
himself.
My
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
It is the only time it's happened.
He literally just said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
However, there may potentially be another beep to boop. I'm trying to figure it out because that data is skewed. I'm seeing how many 6 seeds have won prior to that change. So that's a similar scenario as being the lowest seed in the playoff. But that's actually kind of hard to find at the current moment.
Okay. We will get to that because speaking of 6 seeds, we have the Tampa Bay Bucks hosting the Washington Commanders. Now, the Commanders are the 6 seed, the Bucks are the 3 seed. I have a lot to say about this game, but I'll keep it short for this part. We'll get into this a little bit later. But yeah, Tampa Bay Bucks and the Commanders. Now, I will say this to preface this: the Commanders. Wow, dude, what a season! Absolutely incredible turnaround. They got their guy at quarterback, and it just seemed like a lot of things went right this year for them. Now they're in a position to really make a name for themselves and, show up and show down. I think the unfortunate part for them is they have to come up against the Bucks. The Bucks are good, man. They really are. They kind of got sprinkled with a really bad injury. 2 of them actually in the middle of the season there. Obviously, Mike Evans came back, but no Chris Godwin, and that really hurts. I do think the Bucks are going to win this game, and I honestly think this might be the hardest spread decision that I've come across in the playoffs, realistically speaking. I mean, there's a couple good ones, but I think this one's really hard to call. Or it could be not very hard to call. I think the Bucks, I'm taking the Bucks spread. and I think it's going to be -3. The Bucks could win easily by like 12 points this game. They really could. I think the Commanders need a little bit of time to kind of fill out in a team sense. I think the Bucks already kind of have something working. I think they got a lot of pieces there that help them in a playoff scenario. As to where you have Jaden Daniels leading the Commanders in the playoffs. Obviously, it's very tough for a rookie to come in and kind of show out. But then on the other side, you have what's his name?
Daddy Mayfield.
There it is. So, and then you got Mike Evans, obviously, also a pretty cool tidbit. I'm sure we all know the 1,000-yard season. He just tied Jerry Rice. I mean, incredible football player, incredible receiver, incredible feet. And that's kind of what you have looking forward to going
Incredible
into in the
feet.
playoffs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a foot fetish. I don't know if you knew that.
I was gonna say, don't you know he sells them now?
Oh no.
Yeah, he's got picks up. You think he's making all his money from football? Come on now. But yeah, it's cool, man, and that's what you have going into the playoffs. As to where the Commanders, obviously, they have some work to do. Maybe a couple key pieces, and they might be a serious contender in 2-3 years. But I don't think this year's the year. So give me the Bucks -3.
A good Sunday night 8 o'clock game. Last one to finish it out. Speaking of rookie quarterback, Shaden Daniels, absolutely incredible rookie of the year. But you look at the other team's quarterback, and it's just the most handsome, most talented,
Yeah, okay, buddy.
most glorious quarterback we've ever been able to set our eyes upon, and Daddy Mayfield, Baker, Daddy Mayfield. Yeah, I think this is a tale of two good offenses and two bad defenses. Let me tell you. I mean, Buccaneers let up a lot of points that they shouldn't. Same thing with the Commanders. However, I will say with a defensive-minded head coach for the Commanders, their defense has gotten a lot better, I think, from last year. And obviously their offense too with the quarterback now. But yeah, I think these are two very talented teams. I think it's kind of sad that they're put up against each other already, but Daddy Mayfield is just too good, man. I don't know. I can't. It's going to be hard to bet against him, but I will. Give me the Washington Commanders to win this game, money line.
You have a whoopsie daisy in the
I
playoffs?
was
Whoopsie daisy
not
in the
expecting
playoffs.
that. I really was not expecting that.
Oh,
You're
Give me
going
the
against
whoopsie
Baker
daisy
Mayfield?
in the playoffs. Poor
In
Baker
Tampa.
Mayfield in Tampa. It's a sad day, but I'm sorry. It's got to go to the rookie. I'm sorry.
It's literally your boo-boo bear, and you're betting against him.
If you look at my record, this is why I'm betting against him.
Okay, valid.
All right, this is what I got to say about this game. Can I get a game of the week? Game of the week.
Really?
I think this is going to be the hottest playoff game of the whole entire round one divisional game. These are two good teams coming in. We got Commanders on a 5-game winning streak coming in to the playoffs, looking fantastic. Buccaneers only lost one to their last 5 games, but can you really blame them to their loss? You really can't, because they lost to the best team in the NFL. So, that being the Cowboys, of course. And yeah, these I think Caleb said it. The defensive coaches. You can't strike Mr. Todd Bowles there. Bowles, however you say his name.
That's just
It's just
And
balls.
then, you got Mr. Quinn coming over from the best team in the NFL. So, yeah, these teams are definitely going to match up pretty squarely. And it was hard to choose, but I think I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers -3 going into
Daddy Mayfield.
Yeah, I think they end up winning. But man, could this be a pretty close game? This could be a pretty. That's why I'm going to give it the game of the week this week. I think this is going to be the evenest matchup we got so far in round one.
There are 3 boop to boops
3 boop to boops?
for this. 3 boop to boops.
Plus,
To
by the
start,
way, Tampa played Commanders earlier in the year. I don't know if you guys knew, but they won pretty convincingly. I think it was like 37-20 or something like that.
Yeah, just wait.
But yeah, they won pretty, I would say, easily. So I could see a repeat.
it's Baker Mayfield's playoff record is 2-2. He is 2-0 in the wild card. He has never lost a wild card appearance.
Yeah, I think he wins.
Second boop to boop. Off of the rookie quarterbacks as well with Jaden Daniels. There are 12 rookie quarterbacks that have actually won a playoff game. So he could join a very exclusive list. And for the 6th seed, I couldn't find exactly how many 6 seeds have won a playoff game, but I have found how many 6 seeds have made it to the Super Bowl. And only 2 have ever reached the Super Bowl. The 2010 Green Bay Packers,
Damn.
who unfortunately beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Super Bowl, and the 2005 Pittsburgh Steelers, who beat the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl.
Damn.
So right now, 6 seeds are 2-0 in the Super Bowl. So
Yeah,
let's go
I don't see
Pittsburgh,
him
maybe?
making Super Bowl. I think they lose this game.
Yeah, probably. But okay. On to Monday Night Football.
Ugh.
We got beautiful, beautiful, beautiful setup here. 3 days, uninterrupted playoff football. Nothing else in the world matters. And brother, I gotta say, I think you jumped the gun. I think we have right here on Monday Night Football the game of the week. Now, some of you might be like, Brandon, what the hell are you talking about? I'm probably saying the
certainly
same
said that.
thing. I got home and I instantly poured myself a glass of Crown. I had a couple rough days at work. And this is what I'm really looking forward to. Now, I have been talking about this game with a couple people from work. One of them is a Minnesota fan. The other one, we just kind of go back and forth about football, sports very often. We just talk about sports. This game is so apparently intriguing to me. Minnesota and LA. It's in LA, lest we not forget. Just last week, Minnesota was fighting for the number 1 seed. And they got for lack of a better term, pooped on by a banged up Lions team. Now, don't get me wrong, the Lions offense is absolutely incredible. But you got to think, too, they just lost David Montgomery for the year.
I think he's
Now,
coming back.
he might
coming
be,
back.
right? We were talking about that as well. He might be coming back. It's not wise to bring him back. Obviously, they got the bye. They got some time to rest him, do what they need to do. But another big piece on that team is Aiden Hutchinson. But we'll get to that later. Minnesota Vikings and the LA Rams. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but the Rams recently won a Super Bowl. What have the Minnesota Vikings done in the longest time? A whole lot of nothing.
Your mother,
Now,
maybe?
right? Hold on. Relax, because she's a lovely woman. Okay?
Yes, she is a good woman.
She's a great woman. She's
Also
the
my
reason
mother.
that you guys are listening to this podcast. Legitimately, without her, we'd all be not existing. Anyway, my key point for this game. Obviously, Minnesota, great record, great team. LA Rams, not as good a record, but also a good team. My main point in all of this, the thing that I will go to and die on a hill for, am I really going to put my faith in Sam Darnold over Matt Stafford in playoff football? And the answer is no. You will never, ever ever, unless Sam Darnold throws for 550 yards against LA on Monday, never will I say, yeah, Sam Darnold is going to take this team farther than Matthew freaking Stafford. No. I see the Rams winning this game by a decent amount. I mean, the spread is plus 1.5 for LA, but I don't trust Sam Darnold. He doubled his best season stats this year for his whole career. He had 7 wins as his career high. He's got 14 for Minnesota. Doubled in one season with one team. Minnesota has a very good offensive head coach, quarterback head coach, might I say. But it's still Sam Darnold. I mean, his last name is Darnold. It's almost Arnold, but they put an extra letter on it for what? Matt Stafford, Rams, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams. I mean, obviously Blake Corum is out. It's very unfortunate, but I still see the Rams rolling Minnesota on Monday. Give me the money line.
Huh. That was a lot of hoopla for, saying, give me the whoopsie daisy. So
It's
I'm
not
going to
really
say,
a whoopsie daisy, though. It's only plus 1.5.
I mean, yeah, but,
half?
it kind of is. Yeah, it'll have whoopsie daisy.
Just give me the whoopsie, not the daisy.
Yeah, give me the whoopsie. Hold the daisy. Hold the daisy on this game.
Hold the
but
daisy.
I have some thoughts about this game, but I'm not gonna speak as long as Brandon did. Gosh, geez, that dragged so long. Oh my gosh. I'm just kidding, buddy. But yeah, give me the Rams as well. Money line. Ooh.
You're not kidding. You're just being nice about it.
I am being nice about it. Just kidding, brother. No, really, I really, truly am. I love your opinions. I love how you share every detail about how you truly feel about these games. And this is the Monday night game. This is an important playoff game. And for my second, whoopsie, hold that daisy on this one though. I'm taking the Rams as well though, for sure.
To be fair, we have a lot less games to go through this week than we did in prior weeks. So
very true.
Give me the Vikings minus 1.5. I had a lot of questions about that too, and it's not even about Sam Darnold and his history and what it is. Right now, he's playing good this year in the Vikings. They lost 3 games, and 2 of those to the best team in the NFL. So they are a good football team. This is a classic underestimation game from the Vikings. I think they're going to win this game, and it's not. It's not about the Sam Darnold playing good or bad against the Rams. The question is the importance of the game. Because going in, I expected that Week 18 game against the Lions to be a lot closer and a lot well matched. It was an obvious win for the Lions. So that is a little scary for the Vikings when you look at okay, it's an importance game. What are they going to show up? But for the majority of the whole entire year and only losing to the best team in the NFL, this is a huge underestimation game, and I'm going to have the Vikings beating the Rams and moving on to the second round of the playoffs. Give me a minus 1.5.
Well, also these two teams did play each other, and the Rams won by 10.
They did
earlier, so
they did the other loss, but
well, there you have it, folks. For the first time in Fasce Cast history, we are giving you raw, uncut predictions on playoff football games for the 2024-25 season. Lock your bets in. Listen to us or don't. I'm not going to force you, nor could I. It's illegal. So I won't. I would if I could. Probably. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I care that much about you. Just kidding. I love you. Anyway. Obviously, at the end of every year, everybody gets excited for a new look. Right. We got teams, contracts ending for certain players. We even have the draft coming up. Couple crazy things that happen at the end of the season. You get draft picks. Draft picks get traded. Players get traded. Players get signed. Now, what I want to talk about kind of ties into another thing that I would like to talk about here in a minute. But when you look at a football team, you look at certain players, highlight players, big players. Players make the difference on the field. Now, there's a lot of things that happened this year that were kind of surprising, things that happened in the offseason as well as the middle of the season. But I want to talk about the end of the season. I want to talk about top trade targets and where you think those targets might land. And I want to start with Caleb. I want to get your opinion on who you think
They're putting
might
a
get
target
traded.
down the road for me, if that's what you meant.
Well, they're putting a Publix down the road for me. I've never been to a Publix. I don't even know what it is. Is it a gas station?
No, it's a grocery. Or it's like a grocery store, like a Wegmans.
Do you have Publix?
Yeah.
Down in Florida? Oh, well, I know.
Yeah, they're pretty
It's
nice.
like Wegmans?
Yeah.
Dude, Wegmans is lit. I miss Wegmans so much.
Yeah, wait, do you go to one of those?
A Publix?
Yeah.
Oh.
Their subs are really good too.
Oh, that's good to know. Because Wegman subs are goated.
Yep. Same thing.
Really?
Yeah, they got the same deal going on.
I like that.
Anyway, yeah, let's go on to
Caleb, yeah, what do
Oh,
you say,
anyways.
brother?
Target, just down the road. Anyways, yeah, trade targets. Wow. Here's one thing that I don't know if everyone has been on Twixter and seen all the drama over in Justin's favorite quarterback to Glaze land over there with Tua got turned the ball over, and the Miami Dolphins. Right, we got number 10, Tyreek Hill, obviously. He's changed his profile picture to Antonio Brown, Mr. CTE man himself, and has claimed that he wants to get on out of there. He wants to do what's best for him, which is kind of funny, because he didn't have the greatest season. I don't know if you want to say it's because Tua was out. I don't think it would have really mattered because Tua's not even that good to begin with. Justin. But yeah, I'm looking at Tyreek Hill right now. And if his words are true, Mr. CTE man doesn't want to stay in Miami. There's a few places I can maybe see him going to. And, it is indeed where the money lies, I think, for him. I think he's going to try to take the biggest money trade that he possibly can because he has 40 children to feed and pay child support for. So he's going to want the bag. And there's a few teams here that I think can sort of offer the bag. Number one, maybe the Patriots. Patriots, got the rookie quarterback. They're going to get some draft capital here, even though they, won against the Bills, lost their number one pick. They still have a lot of trade capital. They still have a lot of cap space. They got the money. They got the funds. They need a receiver because go ahead and name all three. The wide receiver 1, 2, and 3 in New England. Oh yeah, we can't. And yeah, so I think maybe he's used to the cold. He played in Kansas City. Maybe a hot take, but I think that is one possibility. Maybe go to New England. I think they can pay. I think they can pay him. I think they might want to pay him. Get a veteran wide receiver in there. Might be old. Might be getting a little man now, but hey, I think Drake May could definitely use it. Another spot. Maybe the Steelers. Nick, maybe the Steelers. Would you like Tyreek Hill? Would you want two divas on your team, George Pickens and Tyreek Hill? Would you?
I plead the
Go ahead.
fifth.
No, he wouldn't. So yeah, maybe it would help. Maybe if they re-sign Russell Wilson, maybe that'd be a good look for him. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole factor will depend on what quarterback we sign. If it is Russell Wilson, if it is Justin Fields, there's rumors of still signing both of them.
That'd be
Depends
funny.
on how much space we have after that.
Yeah, that'd be really funny. But I think you guys got a little bit of capital left in you to make make a trade like this. But yeah, those are two big teams for Tyreek Hill. I think obviously his time in Miami hasn't been the greatest. He's had some flashes, definitely not this year, but the year before. But he changed his whole profile picture for this. I think he's ready to go. He's Mr. CTE man, and that's also another reason why I said Steelers, because it's very fitting. If he's CTE man, go to the Steelers or go to Tampa. Oh, he could go to Tampa too. Yeah. Throw his
That would
shirt off,
actually
maybe dance off the field.
That would be, I think, electric.
Right. I think so. But yeah, there's a few more people, but I don't know who you guys got. I don't want to steal everyone's thunder here, so we'll have Justin go. Justin, all you, buddy.
Tyreek Hill's not getting traded. The only thing he's going to play another year with the Dolphins and then get traded to the Chiefs in 2026. I'm calling it now. You can write it down and record this and look it back.
Wait, I don't have a pen. I don't have a pen. Oh, wait.
So that's what's going to happen with him. He's not going anywhere this year.
Pineapple, apple pen. Maybe he will.
But a lot of interesting things that I'm looking at is all these early draft picks, specifically like a JJ McCarthy situation. Is that
Joe Milton?
Is that going to be a trade situation? Same with the Patriots. Is that a trade situation? I think no matter what, I think the Giants are going to be drafting a quarterback. If I had to guess, I think that's going to be the number one thing, or that's going to have to be a trade for them as well. So all those early is going to be looking in going into next year. Who are they going to pick up for that? And looking at the contracts, the big contracts of this year coming to the end, what's going to happen with T. Higgins? There's a lot of talk about Burrow getting paid, and of course Chase and T. Higgins. It almost seems like without Higgins in the game, Burrow doesn't have his production is way down. What's the result of that? Because it expires going into 2025. So someone's gonna. He's probably T. Higgins. Realistically, is probably gonna get like a 30 mil. I would say a little less than like a CD kind of type thing, like a 27, 28 miller, something like that.
I could realistically see him going to the Patriots too. T. Higgins.
Yeah, so that's a big one. That's like a huge. I think number one trade lookout is going to be him, being that Tyreek's not going anywhere. And then going on the defensive side is Charvarius Ward on the 49ers. He is also expiring this.
He's expiring.
Yep, his contract this year. So who needs a cornerback? That's on the defensive side. Looking at it,
Manners.
And you look at the Ravens too. Like their pass defense hasn't been. I guess it's how do you upgrade like the Ravens season, and that's just going to be a looks of going in, and that's mainly the big ones. A lot of the other guys going is like your older veterans, like a Hassan Reddick's. Getting over 30. Stephon Diggs again. He had the 1 year. Is he going to be where the heck is he going? No one picking him up. Amari Cooper, another one of those. He's on the bill. I think he's going to play out the rest of it with the Bills this year. Where does he go? Deontay Johnson's another one that's ending. So all these like older ones. Zach Martin, our center. I don't know if they give him an idea. I don't think so. I think he's talking about retiring or whatnot. But yeah, just all these older ones. And another thing I have to point out is the Steelers quarterback. Are we sticking with Russ? What are we doing, Justin Fields? You got 2 QB1s. What's the trade value there? How many draft picks can you get? There's a lot of different things that can happen with all these guys. I think it's a little too early to tell going into next year what the vibe is going to be, what teams are going to need, what they're going to draft, all this thing. What about Chris Godwin? He was injured all year. He's off his contract this year with the Bucks. Where does he go? He was a huge piece for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, somebody like that I can actually kind of see going to a struggling team like New England. New England has no receivers. The, like we mentioned, they don't have a notable person on their team in the wide receiver room. Uh, somebody that's season-ending injury, you don't know how they're going to come back from it. New England needs receivers. It's a very scary acquisition to pick up somebody that you don't know how they're going to perform after something like that. So,
How about Nick Chubb? Where's he going?
oh, he's cooked. He's cooked, buddy.
Yeah, Chubb might be done.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. But yeah, there's just a lot of big names that you look at that are like more than likely re-sign for another year, same team, probably kind of deal. But yeah, definitely something to watch going into the off season this year. But yeah, let's tune in. Let's lock in for playoffs. What do you say?
A beep to boop off of Justin's question of the cornerback issue. Fitting he mentioned the Steelers with the quarterbacks. Two of the Steelers' cornerbacks rated the lowest in the league. Two of our starting quarterbacks, Cam Sutton and our trade that we had for Deontay Johnson in the beginning of the season, Dante Jackson. I believe they rated 128th and 126 out of 130 corners who started
That's
over
not
100
great.
snaps this season.
That's
Hey,
pretty
that's
good.
really
No, it's
bad.
not. That is horrible. And that was our big trade, trading away Deontay Johnson in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, big name like that though, especially Ward coming 49ers obviously is the number one there. It's probably going to be a pay situation. You know, you got to look at what is the word? The money for the thing, set the cap. You got to look at that, and make sure it all makes sense. Obviously for all these, but yeah, that's a big namer one. That's this year.
So I have a couple in mind. One of them might be a shock. I'm going to start with the one that's probably less of a shock. This one's kind of a wild card. Debo Samuel. Now, he's a free agent next year for 2025-26. And if we're looking at the Niners, I said in the beginning of the year that this is the year for the Niners to make or break. And they broke. They broke real hard. They fell to shambles, and now they're in a situation where they have Brock Purdy, George Kittle, I think Greenlaw as well, and also Debo that are all free agents. Those are some pretty big names. Now, being that they had all those players, even CMC, they're paying them all. Brock Purdy's now he's gonna get paid. Obviously, this year was kind of probably dropped his stock a little bit, but you gotta start chunking out some fat. And I think Devo is one of those players that are gonna roll. I don't know if they're gonna sign Brock Purdy, give him a lot of money, but what option do they have other than that? You know, they don't. They don't. I feel like they have to sign Brock Purdy, and he's gonna get a bag that leaves probably. I don't know. George Kittle seems like somebody that would stay, but like Dre Greenlaw and Debo, I think they're gone. Even, man, I don't know. But yeah, Debo's gone, in my opinion, and he's another one that had a down year on a bad team. He might get picked up by somebody with a lot of cap space. That's a good team that might just need a little bit of a pickup, or he might get picked up by a not good team with a decent quarterback. Dot dot dot. The New England Patriots. Patriots have the highest cap space in the entire NFL. So they have a lot of room to wiggle, and there's a lot going on there in New England. So I really like Debo getting shipped out, and I think if the right dominoes fall, New England might be a serious team next year if they can play this offseason right. What with their coaching changes, they got a good quarterback. couple pickups on offense. Maybe they get something shaken. Now, this one's kind of obvious to everybody. The Kirk Cousins thing, that experiment failed. I mean, what an absolute embarrassment, honestly, for the Falcons. You look at their roster on paper, and that team was just unbelievable. You drafted Michael Penix, and he got to see the field a couple times, and granted, wasn't terrible, right? For a rookie quarterback, barely getting any playing time, you sat Kirk at the end of the year. I think Kirk's gone. I think he's getting cut. I don't think it'd be smart for them to cut him because Michael Penix being a rookie, I feel like that's why I like Pittsburgh having Russ and Justin Fields. You get a mentor for your young quarterback so he has room to grow if you get rid of Kirk Cousins. But, I mean, it's pretty much written in the stars for Kirk to be gone. It's very unfortunate, but it is what it is. Now, the one that I really wanted to talk about that I don't think you guys see coming is Derek Carr. Do you remember how good Derek Carr was in the beginning of the year? Do you guys remember that?
Sure, Justin does.
Hey, Justin, do you remember how good Derek Carr was in the beginning of the year?
It's the same story with him every year. I don't think that's why he's been traded around so oftenly. I think he's pretty much at the end of his deal too.
Well, I mean, when he's on the field, when he's not hurt, he's still playing well. He really is. Obviously, the Saints ran into 3 layers of brick wall, and nothing went well for them. Nothing at all went well for them after, what was it, the first 4 weeks? Now, you get a team looking really, really hurting for a quarterback that's got experience and can play well. I think he could end up on a team like Tennessee. Tennessee's got a lot of cap space. They can pay a couple players really well, get a couple pieces, and really put together something scary. Or you could even go. I mean, realistically, I was gonna say, I mean, Carolina really needs a lot, but the way Bryce Young played in the last week of the season, dear God, like, what are we doing? We're saving that for the last game of the year. The dude had 5 touchdowns. The last game of the year when nothing matters. Come on now. I mean, Atlanta was fighting too. They wanted a playoff spot. They needed to win. Carolina said, "Nah, let my 5'8" quarterback take over." Yeah, Derek Carr is another one that I think might get shipped out to a team that really needs it. I think he's gone. I think New Orleans is really, really deep in that rebuild phase. And also, if the Saints retain Derek Carr for 2025, it's an extra $30 million guaranteed. So they got to clear a lot of space for cap value, and I think that's the guy to get rid of, especially in a rebuild. Get him on a team where he can perform before he ends up like Aaron Rodgers. He's too old and nobody wants him. Oops, I just said that. I meant it. But yeah, those are some of my ideas, kind of where I'm gauged. But kind of talking about trades, right? In pieces being filled in, you need to kind of make a couple moves. And just after the regular season ended, the quickest, I think, maybe we get a beep or boop boop on this, but the quickest firing of a head coach. It was 2 hours after the game. Gerard Mayo got fired from New England.
Didn't someone
And that just kind of
fired during a game?
That would be hilarious. I would like to know.
Like at halftime, I just fired him.
That'd be hilarious. I want to know who it is, and I want to write him a letter.
Might have been a bunch of memes about it last year, but I forget what team it was, but it was hilarious.
There's been a lot already. There's been 5 or 6 vacancies in the head coaching position for the NFL. Now, there's a couple that are really cool. Obviously, there's some that happened in the middle of the year. The Jets fired Robert Saleh. We talked about that last week. But, Gerard Mayo, like I said, you got Jacksonville's head coach gone. Chicago, I mean, that one's just obvious. You get your first draft pick. You build a team around them with absolutely nothing to show for it. Saints head coach, and obviously, like I said, Saleh. And then you got Vegas head coach gone. There's a whole lot. There's a whole lot going on. This happens kind of every year though, and I kind of want to see where you guys are at with the coach firings, and if you think that realistically hiring one specific person from a specific team, whether it be defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, or even a previous head coach. Caleb, I'll start with you.
I have a beep to boop
Beep it
off
boop.
of the quickest head coach being fired.
Oh God.
And this name is actually going to surprise you. Bill Belichick. In 2000, he was, for one day, 0 games played as a head coach. He was technically a head coach for the New York Jets after their previous head coach stepped down in 1999. That was the quickest head coach start to fire. And then the Patriots traded a 2000 first-round draft pick to the Jets to acquire him.
They traded a first-round pick to acquire a head coach.
Correct.
That's legal?
From what I'm reading right now, I guess it is. I didn't. That's Beep to Boop is confused by that as well. But,
Okay,
Bill Belichick is.
Does Jerry Jones know this? Because if he doesn't, don't fucking tell him. Because he would 100% trade a draft pick for, like... dude, I don't know.
He already traded our draft picks for Trey Lance, and I already forgot the wide receiver's name. The fourth
Mingo.
rounder. Yeah.
Mingo.
Bingo.
Yeah, but he doesn't know he can trade for a coach,
Bingo
bro.
was his name, and they haven't even seen the field, and probably never will. So it's
dude.
Yeah, speaking of Belichick, all these head coach openings, and he's over there in North Carolina.
A beep to boop off of my beep to boop of Brandon's question asking you can trade picks. The latest one was actually Sean Payton from the Saints to the Broncos.
Oh yeah,
It was
that's right.
the Saints traded a first-round pick and a second-round pick for Sean Payton and a third-rounder.
Yeah.
The latest coach, the quickest coach to be fired, the quickest coach who actually got fired after playing games was in 1978. He played 2 preseason games and then was fired by the Los Angeles Rams. His name was George Allen.
And the preseason is crazy.
And then the shortest regular season was also in 1978. Pete McCulley from the San Francisco 49ers. They went 1-8, and in that time frame, the 49ers would commit 63 turnovers in the 9 games.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. You scared the hell out of me when you said "commit" as the first word.
That's word for word what it says, and the 49ers would go on to commit 63 turnovers.
You think I could have worded it better to not scare me when I hear it in my ears. But yeah, Caleb, let me know.
Yeah.
Let me know where you're at.
Yeah, so head coaching. I mean, there's a ton of teams obviously fired. I mean, Jacksonville Jaguars, Peterson gone, Bears, Eberflus gone like middle of the season. Patriots, obviously, Gerard Mayo just got fired. Those are always kind of tricky. The guys that are thrown into terrible situations and don't see that much improvement. They're like, okay, get rid of them. I don't know how I feel about all that. But it is what it is. Saints obviously out of theirs. Jets obviously are trying to clean house, which I think the Jets do need to clean house, and they are kind of working on that. But a couple people I could definitely see taking some head coach positions. A couple offensive coordinators. Ben Johnson on the Lions. I mean, we all know what he's doing over there, with all these trick plays and all these cool looking flashy stuff that has made the Lions offense like almost number one in the league. Actually, it is number one in the league. Yeah, he's done an incredible job with the offense. I think with all these position openings, I'm sure someone will want to pay him. Same thing, Bills offensive coordinator. Joe Brady, he's been absolutely fantastic. I pray that he doesn't want to leave us, but you know, then again, it is what it is. Money reasons. I could absolutely see someone trying to pick him up. He's even got Brady in the name. Go Brady. But yeah, I think a few of these teams got to pick up, someone. There's plenty of teams that need coaches. Oh, and Mike Vrabel too. He's still, he's been a head coach for the Titans for a while. Got fired, obviously. He might be looking to get back into a head coaching position. I think a few teams could definitely use him. I think the Jets could definitely use someone like Mike Vrabel, defensive minded. Um, I actually think he would be a great pick for that team. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. There's just a few people I could see definitely moving. I think the top guys for me are those three. I think they're definitely going to have a head coaching position, um, and just because of what they've been able to do throughout their career. I mean, Brady is new, but still, I mean, look what he's done offensively for the Bills with what they have. Granted, he is Josh Allen, but Ken Dorsey obviously had Josh Allen, and the offense was as stale as rocks, But uh, yeah, I think unfortunately he might be leaving us. And I think Ben Johnson will probably leave the Lions. However, he might want to stay. I mean that is an incredible atmosphere being in the Lions and what they've been able to accomplish in turning their team around. He might want to stay as the offensive coordinator, take that pay cut just for another year to try to win it all. But money is money at the end of the day. You got to feed your family, so I could definitely see him getting the head coaching position. But yeah, those are my big three.
Do you think any of them are struggling to feed their family?
No.
Well,
Good
I was
answer.
gonna say that that's
It's just no.
it's a risk thing. It's a risk thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Ryan the line saying, why would you leave a winning organization when you're secured, and risk being you see all these 1 year head coaches and coming over. Oh, we're gonna change your team around, and then you're fired at the end of the year.
Money.
So leaving like literally one of the best teams in the NFL. Yeah, money's great, but for the year, it's security where you are now, especially in a winning organization. The biggest ones for me that I'm gonna look out for is what are the Bears gonna do and what are the Jets gonna do. The biggest on paper teams that should have excelled, especially a lot more than they're showing this year, is it a clean house situation? Like, what is it? Players, coach, there's got to be something down that pipeline. And I feel like full clean out. I like Mike Vrabel for the Bears. I really do. I liked it. I like his coaching. I thought he was pretty solid. It's kind of questionable why the Titans decided to move on from him. I don't know. I guess I have no clue. But I'd be interested to see the Bears do something like that. I think that would be good to turn them around. And the biggest surprise, another one of the big surprises, Brian Dable, and he's already confirmed to be continuing with the Giants. And I think the reason for that is they're gonna put none of the blame on him, being the situation quarterback, of course, and injuries. I'm pretty sure when he started the first year of the Giants, they made the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. I think he got Coach of the Year that year too. So I thought that was going to be another thing. Like, all right, we're getting rid of everyone, but he's returning next year, so that's good for him. But yeah, just the two pieces to fill in and watch continue. Obviously, you have your elites that are never going to leave, like your Reeds and your Harbaughs, and even the Packers coach. Why can't I think of his name right now?
That guy.
Yeah, that guy. All the
Matt
top tier ones.
LaFleur. Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, Lafleur. They're not going anywhere, obviously, and moving the top of the boards there. But I would like to see Zimmer leave on the Cowboys. I don't think he did anything. I think we were much worse on defense. I think we need to change that. McCarthy, I mean, no matter who's there, realistically, I think he's fine. The only thing that I would see, and now I'm talking about the Cowboys a little bit, is you got to let the coaches have full reins and actually control the team rather than Jerry up top, which is horrible. But yeah, a lot of, and this is one of those things too. Like we're too early to see. We gotta just wait back, and I know the Bears specifically, they have a list of people they've already interviewed.
Yeah.
After
Yep.
last year, so anything can happen there. But I think that's going to be one of their most important decisions of their whole entire franchise. Again, hopefully they don't go another year seeing a dub Bears. All right, that's what I got.
So I'm glad you brought up the Bears, and I'm glad you brought up the Jets. I also want to touch on one other team here really quick. The Bears had, I guess there's a report that they contacted Mike McCarthy or Jerry Jones, one of the two, to ask if they can interview Mike McCarthy for their head coaching position. And then I think it was a day later, the Cowboys said, "Yeah, no, they never did that. They never contacted him." I don't know if that's like a flex on the Cowboys end, like Jerry Jones being like, "Nah, he's our guy. He's not leaving." But obviously, the Bears need help. I think they need a lot more than just a head coach, to be honest with you. There's a lot that has to go in there. I know that one of their interviewers, or not interviewers, but one of the coaches that they're interviewing are actually Joe Brady, the OC for the Bills. Now, like you said, it's kind of like a positional thing. It's kind of one of those things that you look at. You can be a head coach of an NFL team instead of being a coordinator. That's definitely an advancement in your career. So, as much as we want our teams, either OCs or DCs or even head coaches, not to leave because there's good things going on, it really falls between the OCs and DCs. Everyone wants to take that next step in their career and be known as the head coach to a team. There's not a lot of OCs and DCs that we know names of, but head coaches we pretty much, if you're a fan, you know their name. I do want to touch on the Jets and the Patriots really quick. The Patriots, obviously, like I said, they fired Gerard Mayo 2 hours after the game. And I think, brother, you said Mike Vrabel is a good fit for the Bears. I think his best fit is in New England. He was a linebacker for New England. He's got a really, really good relationship with Robert Kraft. He's obviously... he was a good head coach. He really was. He kind of got the shaft last year. He was fired in 2024. But I think he's a really good fit. He's got a really good quarterback underneath him. He's got a team that he can build. Obviously, they lost the number 1 overall pick by beating the Bills last week. So that might have been the reason it took 2 hours instead of 2 days. Like, what are you doing? We had the number 1 pick and you threw it away. But I think Mike Vrabel's a really good fit for New England. And the Jets, dude. I can see them doing something very, very stupid. I can see them hiring Rex Ryan. They already interviewed him. There's already headlines about it. And there's already a rift between Rex Ryan and Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers, we kind of already have an understanding that he's done. He had a time. Obviously, the injury set him back, and he's not the same. And it's really unfortunate because the Jets really. I mean, if we got Aaron Rodgers, well, if the Jets got Aaron Rodgers to his potential, they could have been a really good team. But nothing went well for them. So I can see the Jets doing something like that and just leaving their fan base like, what the hell are we doing? Um, Rex Ryan, hire him, get rid of Aaron Rodgers, cause a rift. And I guarantee you if Aaron Rodgers is gone, either Devontae's gone or even Garrett Wilson. Both of them. It could just cause a collapse, and I think that's exactly what the Jets are capable of doing. It's just collapsing their entire franchise with one hire of a head coach. But Chicago's a really interesting one for me because, like I said, I think they need more than just a head coach. I think it takes a lot on that offensive line to really develop Caleb Williams into a good quarterback. They tried to build a team around him, and it seemed like they kind of did pretty well, but he got no help in the offensive line. And it could be something with him, like we mentioned, not getting rid of the ball quick enough. It could be just like a transitional period. Obviously, he's playing in college, but it seemed to not have the same effect with Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix. But Bo Nix, I think, got the best of the deals because of Sean Payton. I think Bo Nix, like you said last week, Bo Nix is not as good as we think he is, but I think it's just because he got put in the right scheme with Sean Payton. I think that combination is absolutely incredible, and what the Denver Broncos did this year is awesome. So obviously, there's going to be a couple more moves. Some GMs are getting fired, moved around, and I can't remember what team it was, but one of the wives of the owners is actually suing him for control of the team. And I read the headline today at work.
What?
I can't remember what team it is. I want to say it's like the Raiders or something. The ex-wife of the owner is suing them for control of the team. I thought that was hilarious. But like I said, we'll see what kind of shakes and breaks and moves and all that stuff down the line. And for a second, we're gonna bring in the birthday boy to talk about something near and dear to his heart. So Nicholas, you have the floor.
I do.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
First, beep to boop. It is not a NFL owner. It is the Padres owner. Suing.
Oh, that's what it was.
San Diego
Okay, yep.
Padres
That's what it
chairman
was.
is suing.
Yep.
And is this just a free reign aspect? Am I able to ask anything? This was unexpected for Mr. Beep to Boop here.
Yeah, I want to. So what you had mentioned, I want you to give me your piece on what you think about your Steelers.
The Mike Tomlin aspect.
Yeah.
So I asked this question to Brandon, based off of Justin mentioning the winning team aspect with the offensive coordinators and coaches. Why would they want to leave a winning team? Mike Tomlin, as everyone knows, has never had a losing season. However, his playoff record is abysmal. We haven't won a playoff game since 2016. Would that be a scenario to where the ownership and things are looking to fire him for that? They are a winning organization by record, but there's been no reward. There's been no production outside of the regular season other than him being above 500 every year.
So what do we think about that? And Justin, I'm going to start with you because I know that you have probably a little bit of disdain for Jerry Jones and what he's kind of doing with Mike McCarthy. So I want to get your input kind of on that aspect of the head coach and the ownership.
Tomlin and the winning season?
No. So yeah, kind of that. But I think it's a very similar situation with Dallas, with Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy.
Well,
So obviously, Dallas has been successful in the past. They've had winning seasons, and they most of the time make it to the playoffs, but to no avail. Right? It's kind of the same thing with the Steelers. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season, but they haven't won a playoff game since 2016.
I mean, you got to look at the entirety of the season. It's not just one game. Yeah, the postseason. Obviously, everyone wants to win the Super Bowl. Out of 32 teams, only one does. So, I mean, are you going to ask that question to all 31 teams that doesn't win the Super Bowl? or he gets half the teams in round one that don't win. No, you got to look at what they actually do. A lot of it is the players. Same thing with the Dable situation. Their team was horrible this year, and the blame can't be on him because there's a lot of things that happen during the season. You look at Mike Tomlin is the whole year. He's one of those ones that are going to go in the coaching Hall of Fames. One of the legendary coaches. And I don't think, literally, I don't even know if there is another coach ever that has never had a not losing season, like ever. So that being itself, you look at, I mean, do you want to win games? Do you want a chance to go to the playoffs? And same thing with Mike McCarthy, the 3 years, 12-5, 12-5. They make playoffs every year. Step back and you look at the coaching overall. What's the next risk? Do you do a full clean out and then you end up like the Bears and the Jets? No, you want the best chance possible for your team. And so that's what it's going to be. And honestly, why would you change from Tomlin? They lose playoff games. They were the 7th seed the past couple teams, or last couple times, and they're playing against the Chiefs and they're playing against the Ravens. You're going to lose to those guys. But yeah, just the chance to go instead of having a losing records is, I think, of more importance than the one game or the postseason the past couple times. But that's what I gotta say.
I have a counter question to that then. With the past month of the Pittsburgh Steelers, their complete and utter implosion that they had from first half of the year going into the middle of the year, they were in the hunt for the number 1 seed in the AFC. That was an actual conversation that people were having that no one could believe off of our quarterback situation in our years past. And then Mike Tomlin in interviews keeps talking about we learn from these lessons week after week and is given the same press conference of nothing is really needs to change. We just need to reflect and just our business is winning is what he says every week. And that obviously hasn't been the case.
Yeah, so you look at that too. Is it solely on his thing? Look at the offense. What is the players doing? Is it the play calls? Is it Russ throwing under 170 yards every game for the past 5 games? What happened in the beginning of the year? Is it the strengths of the schedule? Is it the opposing team? There's a lot of factors that go into it. You're not going to win every game, obviously, but yeah, even going on a cold streak, it happens. It happens, but you look at like. What has Russ done? What has the offense done? Maybe you look at something like that instead of like, I mean, the defense has been notoriously top of the NFL for years and years and years, and it hasn't changed. You go against the Steelers, you're going to have a hard time scoring points.
That's a good point. I feel like at some point though, you want something to get shaken up, and if you have the same head coach for years, but you're not doing anything with it, the only thing you can kind of look at, because players come and go, you get trades, you get new players all over the place, but if one thing stays the same and that happens to be the head coach, and the same result happens, what's the common denominator there?
Okay, so you look at the Jets. They haven't made a playoffs the longest active streak. They've been through a ton of coaches.
They've also been through a ton of players. They've had no.
So that's it's what I'm the whole point I'm making is
there's got to be a balance for sure, and
the reason why these franchises get so well known is because they keep the same the same guys. Tomlin.
I like your point. I like your point with
consistently gave them a chance.
Yeah, I like that point with him. Coach. With him, you get winning seasons for sure, and I like that point. I don't like the year in year out you have a different head coach and you also get different players. There's got to be some foundation to your team, and I think coaches like that, it's a good piece to hang on to. Real quick. We're kind of running a little bit long here, longer than expected with just the playoffs and not the entire NFL playing. Real quick, I want your opinion on who you think is going to be kind of that sleeper team next year. You know, the teams at the bottom of their respective divisions or even the league this year that might show up next year and just wow everybody, kind of like the Commanders did this year. So, Caleb, I'll start with you. What is the one team that you think is going to wow everybody?
You know, like we were kind of talking about earlier, I don't see WoW as in like they're gonna be the best team in the football league, but completely changing from what they were this year. I think if they play their cards right, it's gonna be the Patriots. Drake May looks very good. I have to say, he looks like a very well seasoned rookie quarterback. Kind of came out of nowhere. Um, I guess didn't come out of nowhere, draft first round, but still, they have a lot to work with. I think from what their record is now this year with 4 wins. I mean, the fourth one kind of getting handed to them because we're playing our backups. But I think with how much they have, what they got going for them, new situation with the head coach. Yeah, I think as long as they play their cards right, they should look like a very good football team. I think next year. So yeah, that's what I got.
Okay, Justin, what about you? What do you think? Who's going to wow you next year?
I think it's way too early to tell anything. Right now, we have no real changes, results, coaches, players, draft all coming up. So even nothing being changed. I would like to. I won't give my official pick. Usually, I do it. In the off season right before the season starts. This is going to be the dark horse unexpected. Kind of like almost like the Cardinals thing call this year, which obviously didn't turn out the greatest. But they gave a little surprising thing a couple times. For me, I guess the guys to watch out for, I have eyes on, just their performance at the end of the year is the Panthers. It seems like they've been the worst team in the league for a few years now. The only way is up. So if I had to put in anything that's going to be an improvement, it's going to be them because they're at the bottom of the barrel right now. But I'm going to wait to kind of give my official surprise team until we see some of these changes going in.
I'm kind of upset that you took them because that I was also going to say them. However, I do have a backup team. And this is really just because of their situation with their quarterback. I feel like going into the season, they already kind of were not prepared to enjoy their season based on the history of their quarterback that they had under center to start the season. The Cleveland Browns, they get a good quarterback, one or two other pieces. And I think that division is very, very, very tough. But, we might see a slide in a couple teams. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they've never had a losing season, but, we're starting to kind of see them collapse. I don't think they make it out of the first round. I think George Pickens is going to be gone. I think he's causing a lot of problems. They have some question marks with their quarterback situation. Their defense is going to hold up, but I don't think it's going to be enough to carry them to a very good record next year, so we might see them slide. Cincinnati, T. Higgins might be gone. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, that combo is just ridiculous. But if their defense doesn't turn around, it could get a lot worse for them. Joe Burrow had an absolute nuclear year this year. If the record was flipped, if they had, that even a 13-4 record this year, I think Joe Burrow is 100% top 3 MVP candidate. And even with Baltimore, Derrick Henry's getting old, dude. He's still at the top of his game right now, but who's to say he's going to be able to do it next year and the year after that? So I feel a lot of shift in that division. And I think if Cleveland gets a couple pieces, maybe a couple coaching changes, we might see them kind of come up a little bit, and they might wow people in the next year or so. So for no good reason, I'm going to pick the Cleveland Browns to be that sleeper team that might kind of shock everybody next year. And with that being said, it's time for everybody's favorite game of the week.
It's time for It's Okay, It's Not Okay.
And this one is coming off of a very deep headline, a very shocking. I don't want to say shocking, but it is very sudden, very abrupt. Tyreek Hill, after their loss, even into the fourth quarter, he sat out, and he basically said, "I'm out. I'm done. It's over." So my question is it okay, or is it not okay? After the game, post-game press conference, to instantly declare that you want out of your team. You want to trade. You're demanding a trade. You demand to go somewhere else because you're tired of losing. Right after the game, instead of taking some time, taking a couple days, reflect, talk to your teammates, and make that decision professionally. Is it okay or is it not okay? Caleb, we'll start with you.
Well, of course, we gotta see who we're dealing with, who we're talking about, and we're talking about a bunch of football players who are mostly nothing but meatheads, aside from Josh Dobbs, the Mr. Pastronaut. But yeah, I mean, it is what of course, it's not the best way to go about it. You got teammates and stuff that care, and you're kind of, if you're just going out there saying you want out, it's like, okay, well, what am I? To like, okay, whatever. And obviously, it's not a good look for coaches. Like, okay, you didn't have the best season, and now you already want to straight away go somewhere else. It's not the best look, but at the end of the day, it is entirely their decision on what stupid ideas they want to make. I think Tyreek Hill is not going to lose sleep over what he did. I mean, he's already fully embracing the Antonio Brown CTE, and yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and say it's okay for this one.
Brother Justin?
Oh, it's me.
Yep.
It's not okay. It's just simply not okay. No one likes losing, of course, but especially at the end of the year here, and you're not making the playoffs. No one wants to be in that situation with especially a high tier sit there. Get me out of here. Team sucks. Trade me. What is that gonna do? Like, say you come back next year and you're on the team. Like, oh, hey guys, I'm back at practice. I think it's a culture killer. And that all stuff shouldn't be in press conferences, all that. It should be behind the doors and, talking to the personnel that handle that stuff and coaches and whatnot, all behind. It shouldn't be a thing that's something that just like ruins the culture of the team. But yeah, I'm going to say it's not okay.
Yeah, I mean, you sit back and think about it, there's a lot of emotion in that game. It's a very high adrenaline game. In the same token, you really do have to think about your teammates, your coaches, your fans, everything like that. You got people, especially in a high status player like Tyreek Hill, specifically. People come out to watch you play. They root for you and they really support you. In the heat of the moment, you sit there and say, "I want out," and it's not only you abandoning your
kind of almost like a victim thing too. Like, oh, it was the team's fault, nothing, everything else but me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're not only abandoning your teammates and kind of making it seem kind of like you said, like all about you, like a victim thing, but your fans, all the people that look up to you and really wish for you to have a successful season and are pulling for you. You just say, you know what, I can do this somewhere else. Good luck rooting for somebody else. So in my mind, it's definitely not okay. have that conversation with your teammates, have the conversation with your coach, talk to your family. If the first thing you do is think about success somewhere else or where you're going to be playing or how it's going to be better for you somewhere else, it's just not a good look. And it's really going to, put a strain on not only your image, but your teammates who you've battled with all year for multiple years. So, yeah, for me, it's not okay.
Well, there you have it, folks. The it's okay, it's not okay. You heard a couple different sides. Let us know what you decide over on Twixter. And you'll find us there at the Fasce Cast. You might also find us on YouTube every single Thursday morning at 8 a.m. also at the Fasce Cast. But for this week, that'll conclude it. And we will enjoy some playoff NFL football games. And we will all see you next week, 8 a.m. We will be there. Will you? Have a beautiful day, guys.
Go Bills.